Hi all, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, and you're watching WGAN TV Live at 5. Our topic today, how Matterport service providers can make money with Agent Relay, offering it as an add-on. And our guest today is Agent Relay founder and CEO, Dan Cattermole. Hey Dan, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for being on the show today.
You're welcome.
Super excited about today's show. How about we jump in with a demo? Why don't we assume that you are a real estate agent and my wife and I, we're ready to sell our house.
Okie doke. So what we'll do to start with is to go into the agent's portal, which allows them to create viewings. So here we are. We're inside the Agent Relay admin portal. There's 3 sections, but we'll just concentrate on the guided viewings for now. So let's schedule a viewing. So click the schedule viewing button.
So we might even assume that today, in the age of COVID and the pandemic, that a real estate agent, their presentation may not be, their listing presentation may not be in person. So you're actually going to call me within a Matterport tour using Agent Relay.
Exactly. So the agent can really use the tool to showcase how they can promote the property virtually and actually engage with customers or potential buyers through the platform. So let's add a property. I'm going to choose this one from my list. Select next. We can then choose either private viewing or open house. In a private viewing, anyone who joins is known to each other, so their names will be listed as participants. In the open house, they would join anonymously, and other guests won't be able to see their personal details. Let's create a private viewing. Okay, so let's assume we're meeting today. We choose the start time. We can then choose the end time. This particular feature, the end time, will disappear on a new update, which is coming in the next month or so, and it will be replaced with a button which just says View Now. I'm going to add your email address down. I'm going to add you as a participant. If we want to add more participants, we can do. Otherwise, let's create the viewing. Okay, that viewing has successfully been created. Back to viewings. And I can see now that we're ready to join the viewing. So as the agent, I'm going to join. I can now choose which microphone and camera I want to use. I'm happy with both of these, I think. Yep. So let's join.
Okay, great. And on my end, as the home seller, I've just received an email from Dan. It says, "Hi Dan, we are pleased to confirm your virtual viewing for Gorgeous Farmhouse in Leafy, Surrey. The viewing details are as follows. The organizer is Danielle Cattermole. The viewing type is a private viewing and the start time is now. When it's time to attend, simply click here to join the online viewing." So I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
Great. Dan, just to say as well that if the guest gets to the viewing before the agent, they will go into a waiting room. And once the agent joins, their status will update and the guest can then join.
Okay, and we're going to show my screen a little bit later, but at the moment I'm going to talk through it. So I have a big green button that says Join Viewing. It says, would I like to allow Agent Relay to use my microphone and camera? I'm going to say allow. And then I have an option, and since we're trying to avoid the audio feedback between how we do WGAN TV Live at 5 and the feedback from the microphone, I'm going to select no microphone because I'm actually going to use the microphone that I'm using to do our show. And then I'm going to select the camera, join call.
And here we go. You've joined the viewing. Good to see you, Dan.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for joining.
I'm so excited that you're going to be helping us sell our home. I hope you can get us a lot of offers for a lot of money quickly and do it for the least amount of stress for
I'm
me.
very confident we can do that. And hopefully Matterport and Agent Relay together can deliver that for you.
Cool. So
let me show you the features of the technology. What I'll do first is to show you that it's very easy for me to move through the space. And on your side, you should see that the screen updates instantaneously, no lag, should be very clean. And obviously you haven't had to download any software, and we haven't shared my desktop screen. So you can join on any device, desktop, smartphone, tablet, whichever you choose.
Now, this is a beautiful home that you're showing, but it's obviously not our home.
Exactly. But once the Matterport scanning has taken place, it's very easy for us to add this to our platform.
Okay.
Let me walk through the features on screen. So obviously we work for Bampton Estates. So our logo is appearing in the top left-hand corner of any property that we have the mandate for. Your property's details will be listed to the right of that, with the list price and the price that you have advised us is the list price. The agent has a button which says change property. Any guests can't see that, but we can come back to that afterwards. You can see there are 2 video slots. You're in one, I'm in the other, and we never have more than 2 video slots, even though we can have up to 20 people join the viewing. So this is called dominant speaker technology. And the reason we've done this is to make sure that the screen is as clean as possible for people to view the property itself. So again, if someone were to join on a smartphone or a small device, the video only takes up a very small proportion of the screen, and they really have great visibility of the home. To the right of that, you can see that I'm the agent. Obviously, you've been very kind to give me the mandate for this property. I'm guiding the viewing. As an agent, we can record this audio, video, and chat messaging for future reference if required. And then actually, I can give you control of the viewing so that you can really engage with the property yourself. So let me do that. Okay, so you should be able to start moving the Matterport.
Yes, so I'm in the Matterport tour now. We've assumed that all our viewers on WGA and TV Live at 5 are actually familiar with Matterport. So I'm now actually in control of walking through this lovely home, just using my finger on my iPhone. And I know I could do this on my iPhone or my iPad or my desktop or my laptop. And as Dan mentioned, not have to load any special application to do this.
Exactly. So let me take control down again. So now as the agent, click the button. Very beautiful, yeah. So we mentioned the fact that there are 2 viewing modes. So open viewing mode, where anyone who joins is anonymous, and private viewing mode, where it might be a couple who are joining the viewing separately, maybe one in the office, one on the commute, or potentially 2 co-investors in a commercial property. So their names are listed under the participants. But if it's an open house, anyone who joins is anonymous to any of the other guests. All they can see is their own name and the agent's name. We also have the ability as an agent to quickly move through the property without having to progress step by step. So we use the Matterport highlight reel to deliver that. And as you can see, I can move through very quickly. And if you ask me a question about the sitting room, I can go back to that instantly. Again, we haven't made this available for guests to see because it's something which might actually fill the screen for them, and we want to keep that clear.
Hey, Dan, would you mind if we paused at the moment where I showed my screen just for a little bit, and then we'll go back to your dashboard.
So you're going to share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this will take me just a moment to do that. You could bear with me. Just take me a moment. Okay. For those that care, we're using Zoom. I'm now using my iPhone doing screen share. I'm then going to go back to where I was. So this is the screen that either the home seller sees as the agent's doing the presentation or the potential home buyer. So this is when I was moving. Dan, if you could give me control of the screen again.
How do I do that then?
No.
Oh, so you want to, yes.
I want to drive on my iPhone.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Tell me when.
I just need to minimize. Here we go. Okay. Okay, you should have control.
I don't, oh, there we go. Okay, so I just wanted to show what I see on my perspective of walking through this space. And then Dan, I see some different options here. There's an arrow. Should I press that?
Don't press that because that would exit the viewing. So
okay, I see a telephone.
Click on that if you like. Yep. So that will bring up your audio, your mic and camera settings. So
okay.
if you want to,
so in this case, for doing the demo, we really did want to have it on mute so that we wouldn't get this audio feedback.
Yep.
Okay.
But if you wanted to change your mic or camera mid-viewing, you can do. So let's say you start on a headset, you could quite easily change to a speakerphone during the viewing if you wanted to. Maybe if someone else has joined you and you both want to hear the agent.
Okay, and then I see 3 dots.
That's the chat messaging area. We can cover that off in a moment if you want to go to that. So we believe this to be used most widely in an open house viewing, where if someone joins the viewing and maybe a bit shy and doesn't want to ask a question via the audio, they can actually send a question to the agent through the chat messaging. So if I just minimize Zoom.
Of course, I think I hit the wrong button there. So.
Oh, okay. So that would have appeared in the chat messaging here.
Yes. Had I hit the right button, I'll just put a short word in there just so I can see if I can do that. No, I apparently don't have the skills to talk and walk at the same time. But let's go back to your demo. I just wanted to show what was on my screen.
Okay. So do you want to give me?
I'm going to, and then you can go ahead and take over.
Share screen. Great. So we've discussed the chat messaging capability. One of the really nice features is for the agent to show more than one property in the viewing. So it may be there is a client who likes 3 or 4 properties in the neighborhood. So as long as the property has been added to Agent Relay, the agent can choose the property through a list, or actually to start to type the property reference or name in the top area, and it will find those for them. So let's go to a different property.
Okay, so it just switched on my screen.
Yep. So now we're in a completely separate property, and we can carry on as we were before. So in terms of the actual viewing experience, I think that covers most of the features. One thing that happens at the end of the viewing, when the agent ends the viewing, is that he or she is prompted to send a link to any of the customers who have joined the viewing automatically. So they will see what we see on screen here, except for the audio video section, i.e. they're viewing that by themselves.
Okay.
If they choose to, and if they choose to,
excuse me, I'm sorry, Dan. Do you want to take it off screen share with me? Do you want to do that? We'll end the call and we'll see what happens.
Yep. So I'm going to take control back. I'm going to end the call, to leave the call. So, would you like to send the attendees a link to the view to view the property unguided? Send.
Okay, cool.
So,
I tell you what, even before let's come off screen share for a moment. Even before we talk more about the agent experience, where did this idea even come from to have video chat on steroids within a Matterport tour?
Sure. So just a quick background, really. So our main business is software development. And about 2 years ago, we saw a great technology emerging in the US, Matterport, and decided we'd like to get involved with that. So we set up a small MSP business. And quite quickly, we saw that real estate agents love the technology, but were concerned that they were excluded from the viewing process. So people would potentially explore the Matterport spaces that have been made available publicly and then leave without the agent having the opportunity to answer any questions, deal with any issues, and to showcase other properties. So we felt as though that was potentially a big issue. And also, in terms of general lead generation, it wasn't particularly fantastic out of the box. We felt as though we could do more with it, really. So then the idea started to emerge that we could use the Matterport 3D tour as the fabric of the background of a virtual viewing experience that both involved the agent and potential clients. So we started to develop the platform probably just over a year ago, and then COVID hit, obviously, at the start of the year. So a lot of the benefits of the platform were really amplified by this. So sellers wanting to qualify interested parties before they actually came into the property, agents increasingly working from home, and actually the nature of buyers was changing as well. So they wanted to make sure that they were really interested in a property before they visited personally. But just generally, people are much more digitally aware now, and where possible, prefer to engage through their smartphones and other digital devices. So self-service is obviously a big demand generally now. So that's the seed of the business, really. And yes, it's very recent since we launched. We're only 2 months in, but the feedback has been absolutely fantastic. We're blown away, really. So we need to continue to develop, but we feel as though it's a good start.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that's particularly exciting is as a software developer, you may not always use the product or service that you're building out code for. But in this case, since you really have a Matterport service provider business, that you could feel the pain, that you could create a tour, have the agent use it, and then get that real-time feedback that the agent's telling you, but okay, a lot of people looked at my tour, but I haven't captured a name. Who were they?
Exactly. So very difficult to understand what return on investment is generally when you spend money on Matterport or other equivalent technologies. So we really wanted to help them quantify what that return was. And thus we're building out a suite of these lead generation tools, really. So today it's, let's capture a name and email address. In the next month or so, those anonymous visitors can simply click to authenticate with Facebook and Google. And then in the next couple of months, we will be building an alternative solution which will capture their telephone number and their name, and then send a code to their cell phone, their mobile phone, to authenticate that they are that number is actually their number. So we hope these are really sort of helping agents really build that pipeline.
So if maybe I could add a metaphor here, if someone was walking down our street for our house today, you might think of the door just being open. Somebody could wander in, look around, and leave, and the real estate agent doesn't know who walked into the house. In this direction
Exactly.
that you're headed. And you actually have features today that you've implemented for lead capture. But on your full robust lead capture version, that person walking down the street going, hey, that's a sign for sale, says for sale. Oh, there's a virtual tour. I can walk in. Now they'll need to essentially provide their email address and their phone number, and their mobile number is essentially saying, here's the code to the front door so that you can walk in. But the agent actually now knows who walked in so that they can do follow-up to see, are you interested in the house? Did you have questions about it, etc.
Exactly. So we're really sort of trying to join all the dots, really, from those anonymous visitors to showcasing multiple properties to them and others, all virtually. So one of the big features we've got coming in a few months is the ability for an anonymous visitor to come attempt to view the Matterport tour. It then checks the Agent Relay platform to see if the agent is online and has set their status to accept instant viewings, and then offer that to the visitor. So the convenience for them obviously is huge if they can actually view the property at the moment they're exploring the space, but with the agent.
So it sounds like there's also some efficiencies here where the agent, even if you would say COVID's a little bit different today, this is really the solution you need today. But either before COVID or after COVID, it's essentially enabling the real estate agent to be efficient with their time. So boom, there's an alert. Someone's ready to walk in the house, virtually take the tour. The agent's ready to actually do that one-on-one tour if that potential home buyer would like that hand-holding.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's about efficiency. The commute time, even to go and show a property, depending on the location, could be an hour each way. So if we can cut down on that, obviously that's better for the agent. They can make more use of their time, but actually generally convenience for all the stakeholders in the viewing process is obviously heightened.
Well, even me as a home seller, I don't really care how many people came to walk into my house. And frankly, with COVID, I prefer to not have so many people walking in the house that really weren't qualified buyers. And so for them to be able to walk through our house virtually, even before they've gotten here, that might save us from having to clean the house and step out while an agent arrives and gives a tour, only to find out in 12 seconds that, the floor plan's not right for us. And so wasted the time of the prospective buyer, the agent, and the homeowner. So I would imagine if you're having a conversation as a real estate agent with a home seller, it actually becomes a selling point to say, hey, we can help you get the most offers for the most money as fast as possible with the least amount of stress, where that stress is not constantly cleaning up the house and stepping out for somebody to walk through the house that really isn't a prospect for our home. So we know that once they've been through the Matterport walkthrough experience on steroids with Agent Relay, that person who's coming to visit our house, they are super serious about making an offer.
For sure. And it's also equally true in the letting space as well. So one of the big issues with lettings is that the lease may be running out as current tenants are moving out. So again, it's very difficult either to arrange with the tenant to get access to that, or actually to present it in the best light. So if you can have a nice clean Matterport tour of that space, and the agent can actually do the concierge walkthrough with potential tenants, again, there's huge value in that.
Okay, awesome. We began the show at the top talking about how Matterport service providers can make money with Agent Relay as an add-on. Before we dive into that piece of it, I still want to make sure that a Matterport service provider really understands Agent Relay from the real estate agent's perspective. Was there more that you wanted to demo on the back end to show us that dashboard of, for example, how to do an open house and what that means?
Sure. Do you want to jump into an open house?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. Okay. So let me take control. So obviously some of the features we can't show because only you and I are joining. So it's more apparent if there's multiple people joining the viewing. Let's go through that anyway.
So you started out your demo earlier showing a one-on-one demo. Now
Exactly.
you're showing a one-on-many demo.
Yeah. So in this scenario, you shouldn't be able to join by video because it's audio only in an open house, except for the agent. So let's try and do that. Let's hope that works. Open house.
So that's even a great screen there. What you're showing is that the agent has two options, either a one-on-one private viewing or an open house that multiple people who don't know each other can all be viewing the same, it's called an open house presentation by the agent.
Exactly. And we have a new feature just about to launch, which when the open house is created, it will create a link that the agents can use and share on social media and other marketing channels. And people can then self-register for the open house. So they click on the link, they add their name and email address. They will receive a notification to say they're all scheduled for the open house with a link to join at the appropriate time. And the agent will also be notified that that person has, has scheduled to join the open house. So we want to automate that process as much as possible moving forward. So let's add the date. Let's do it today. Start time 22:30. Okay, that's been created successfully. If I needed to go and edit the invites, I can do, but I'm going to go back to the viewings, go to my most current viewings. I'm going to join. Again, I can choose my microphone and camera. As a guest, you can actually join without audio and video very easily by clicking that button, but I'm going to join as the agent with those.
And did you send me a link to this open house?
I did. Hopefully you received that successfully.
Yep, I just got it.
Great.
And it says viewing type is an open house viewing. I'm going to click on the link within the email. I now see a button that says join viewing for the Mill Farm. It's asking to access the microphone and camera. I'll say okay.
Yep.
And I'm going to join the call again with no microphone so that I don't create a feedback loop here. I'm going to join. And in this case, I just see you, I don't see me, which
Perfect.
is correct.
Exactly. So if there was another participant, you would see their name as anonymous. Their name wouldn't be listed.
So if I understood that correctly, I could still do a chat. You could see the chat, but it won't say it's from Dan.
It will say anonymous.
Anonymous.
Exactly. Another new feature which has come in before the end of the year is private messaging. So let's say it's an open house and someone who's joined really wants to either buy or lease that property. They can send a private message to the agent to say, I want it, and no one else would see that.
Okay, cool. Are there other features of the open house that you want to show?
So it's exactly the same as the private viewing, apart from those restrictions that we've discussed.
Okay, and is there anything here to show about how many can participate in an open house, how many can participate in a private viewing. For example, if I wanted to ask my wife to join, if I wanted to ask a friend to join.
Yep. So the current limit for both is 20, but we can adjust that on the enterprise plan if people wanted to do that. So the hard limit is 2,000, but 20 is our current default for the standard and professional plans.
I would like to think that there are 2,000 people that are interested in buying our house, and you must be the agent that could actually deliver that audience. So that's exciting.
One other feature, again, which is coming before the end of the year, is the ability for the agent in an open house to either mute an attendee, or if they really need to throw them out.
Ah, okay. All right. So let's come out of this screen for a moment. And
okay,
if you don't mind, I am going to drive for a moment.
So you want me to leave the viewing?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. Viewing has ended is what showed up on my screen.
Great.
Okay. Okay, good. I thought it might be helpful to just, I know I'd still like to cover pricing, for example, but before we jump into that, I'd like to just go over two special offers that We Get Around Network is making in conjunction with Agent Relay. So the first, and I think I'll share my screen. I'll share it in a second. So essentially, it's how to get 12 free months of the We Get Around Network course of WGAN TV Training You in Matterport. WGAN TV Training You in Matterport, a free membership for 12 months, no credit card required. And there's two ways to get that. The first, and I'll go share my screen. Just go to a different link here for a second. Okay. And I'll probably make it a little bit more confusing than is necessary. But to show you, if you're interested simply as you're a real estate agent and you want to get Agent Relay, use the WGAN affiliate code wgan.info/agent. And when you do that, it will take you to the Agent Relay page, and Dan will talk more about either booking a demo or starting a free trial. But by using our affiliate link, and as soon as you get your first invoice from Agent Relay, you send me a copy, you email me a copy of your invoice, and you'll get 12 free months of WGAN TV Training You in Matterport. It really is quite an extensive learning opportunity in all things Matterport. And the second is if you join the agent affiliate program, and I'm going to type in WGAN info/agent. Forgive me, WGAN info/agent relay, then that's the link to join the Agent Relay affiliate program, and it automatically put in the WGAN affiliate link to get you here. And Dan's going to talk about this, but I just wanted to give you those two offers to know you can use WGAN.info/agent to get to the Agent Relay website, or you can use WGAN.info/agent relay to get to the affiliate marketing program that enables a Matterport service provider to be a reseller of Agent Relay to receive recurring monthly revenue on any orders that your clients buy. So it's an add-on. Dan, let me go back to you and have you talk about the Agent Relay affiliate marketing program.
Sure. So just in terms of commercials, any referrals to us will be compensated by 25% lifetime commission for any revenue we get from those clients. This is managed through the Tapfiliate referral platform that you showed. Those incomes will be transferred on a monthly basis automatically, and then they can be redeemed through PayPal. Just to say that we are always available for demos and discussions with MSP's clients about the benefits of Agent Relay, and then to show them how it works in practice. All support is managed by us. So really it's an introduction to their clients, and then we really sort of take over the day-to-day support on Agent Relay thereafter. We also hope that if those agents conceptually, buy the concept that Agent Relay sort of transforms the customer journey for their customers, then it will mean many more scans per client for those MSPs as well, because it moves Matterport from a purely marketing tool into a day-to-day operational tool for those brokerages, where the virtual viewing is almost the initial viewing, qualify the buyers, and then they go and see it in person. So we hope there's an increase in revenue on both those sides.
Awesome. Let me amplify, if I may, what you've said. I can certainly understand a Matterport service provider is particularly in the age of COVID, is saying, I am so busy, I don't have a moment to spare to try and explain to my clients what is Agent Relay, how to use it, and why it matters to them. And I think the good news is a Matterport service provider, you don't actually need to do that. All you really need to do is to set up a warm introduction for Dan. And in fact, if you go to, if I go back to this page, so again, I happen to use our affiliate link, agentrelay.com/? Anyway, I think you get that. You can come to this page, and if this is for you, you can simply book a demo. So let's say you are actually a real estate agent and you want to use Agent Relay, just come in here, book a demo, or start your free trial. And if you've if you're a Matterport service provider and you come in here and you've typed agent wgan.info/Agent Relay, so filled out the affiliate program, then you can really just send Dan an email, a message to say, hey, I have an agent, very busy, successful real estate agent, or I have a brokerage, and I know this is a solution that would be really awesome for them. Could you do a demo? I'm happy to make the introduction. I think that's what we're talking about.
We are. So typically, again, it's, I arrange a Zoom call with a potential customer, talk through the benefits, then we jump into a viewing. And just to say, obviously, that each affiliate has their own bespoke link to the Agent Relay website. So anytime they sign up a customer, they sign those customers up through those links. And then after that, everything is automated for them. So it's a very simple process. In terms of free trial, there's a 14-day free trial. So MSPs can sign up and have a play with themselves, or they can recommend their clients do so. And again, we're always on hand to onboard them and help them through that process. So it should be a pretty frictionless journey, really.
I can't overstate that, which is, as a Matterport service provider, we know you are busy, and this is a lot to absorb in terms of, how to demo the back end of Agent Relay. So Dan's not expecting you to do that. In order to earn your 25% lifetime affiliate revenue, all you need to do is help facilitate the appointment for Dan to begin a Zoom conversation and then switch it to the agent relay presentation. And this is what Dan does all day long, is the founder and owner of Agent Relay, is makes these presentations. So I think it's like the best of the both worlds. Is it you know, once you have a client that's using this platform, you're earning a percentage of the revenue that the agent is spending with Agent Relay. In fact, I think it might be helpful if we went to your rate card, if that's okay, and I'll drive and maybe you can talk over that if that's okay.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so we've come to the Agent Relay website.
Yep.
Property viewings, reimagined, book a demo or start a 14-day free trial. You know, you have such an awesome video here. Let me just go ahead and play that. Takes about a minute.
Okay.
In fact, I think what I need to do is make sure that I have my audio turned on. So let's try that. Okay, sound from the computer. Let's go try that one more time. And I think I have my audio turned off. So let me just see if I can make that change. I could be wrong, but look, we'll try it once. If not, then we'll play it even without the sound because it's an awesome video. Nope. If I do change the audio, then I'm going to hear myself on our YouTube channel. So let me go back to see if I could share screen, but just play the video without the sound. Let's do that. Almost back there. So it's about a 1-minute video. It's showing you the video chat in the top right. It's showing you the actual text chat to the right. It's a nice, little bit more than a minute video. Kind of gives you a nice overview of Agent Relay. So I think that's great. So forgive me, I think we were actually going to go over pricing, and I just started to scroll down on that page. So let me get back there again. Okay. Just take me a second. There we go. Okay, so that's where that video was. And did you want to go over any of these before I move down to pricing?
No, I think we've covered most of those in the presentation, Dan.
Okay, great.
Okay, so currently we have 3 plans. The standard plan is $96 a month, and that includes up to 50 agent accompanied viewings. So what we demonstrated before, where the agent and the guest were in the viewing together, that's an agent guided viewing. Up to 4 attendees on the standard plan per viewing. The self-guided viewings are where individuals view the Matterport tours by themselves, but with our lead generation built into that. We have open house and private viewing mode with video conferencing and chat, unlimited properties, unlimited agents, bespoke corporate branding. So that was the brokerage's logo in the top left-hand corner on viewings, and we provide email support on that. Just to say that we are introducing a light plan before the end of the year, which will be $46 a month. That's for a single agent, 2 attendees per agent guided viewing. So basically the agent and 1 guest, and 20 agent guided viewings per month. So that might be a single agent who works for a brokerage, and the brokerage currently isn't using Agent Relay. An agent can actually use the platform themselves. One thing actually we didn't cover off in the demo, Dan, which is probably worth mentioning, is that agents can actually showcase other agencies' Matterport tours on Agent Relay. So all we use is the public Matterport link. So they might, if they want to show their clients some other Matterport tour that might be of interest, they can do that as well. And actually they can add those dynamically to Agent Relay in the background while they're on the call with the client. Then we go to the professional plan. The professional plan really is pretty much the same as the standard plan. We do say here that there are features such as the ability to hand control to a guest and to showcase multiple properties that are in the professional plan. There's a slight change to that in that we're actually adding those to the standard plan this month as well. So we want to make those available at the lower tier.
Again, please, which features will move to standard?
View multiple properties in a single viewing. So that's where the agent can actually switch to different properties dynamically, and grant viewing control to attendees within the viewing. That's actually going to be made available in the standard plan pretty much from now.
Awesome.
And then we have the enterprise plan, which really is for large organizations who either are doing a lot of scans or they want bespoke work done, such as us to integrate into the Matterport API to automatically pull the Matterport tour links into Agent Relay, or to link into their CRM system to pull out their properties, or actually to push any pipeline leads that have been established through the lead generation. This also includes those organizations that want to white label the solution completely under their own brand. So typically that's maybe a large client who wants that, or a reseller. So we can make this technology available for others to use as their own solution under a white label agreement.
Awesome. Dan, are there questions that I didn't ask you about Agent Relay that I should?
I think that covers it really. We've covered most of the new features that are coming soon. So we have the ability, for example, now so we have 2 levels of user within the platform. We have an admin who might be the broker or a manager within an organization, and then the agent level. So let's say the agent has some viewings scheduled and they're sick. An admin can actually go and reallocate those viewings to another agent within the brokerage. And we have some reporting which is coming over the next couple of weeks. So it will create reports on how many agent guided viewings have been done on a particular property this month, how many people have undertaken self-guided viewings. And this is all great data to give to the ultimate client to showcase that the brokerage is adding value. Because I guess historically with physical viewings, the customer knew how many people were coming through the door. But in the virtual world, that's harder. So we're building those reports. We've spoken about the instant viewings, which are coming soon. And yeah, we're continuing to build out the features that we're being requested to build.
A Matterport service provider just finished watching the show what's the 1, 2, or 3 things that they should say to a real estate agent to get them interested in taking a meeting with you?
Okay, so delight both your sellers and potential buyers. Create some differentiators with other realtors in the marketplace, and actually these technologies, whether it's with us or others, will become the norm. So it's good for them to get involved earlier and actually receive some benefit from doing that.
So if you have a real estate agent or brokerage client that always likes to be first, they love new technology, they want to leverage things, they want a competitive advantage. Maybe they see that they happen to be in a market where there's lots of agents offering Matterport tours, and they're still looking for, how do I differentiate myself in order to win that listing presentation? Then adding video chat on steroids to a Matterport tour that also is lead generation capture on steroids may be the type of extra and add-on that a Matterport service client would like. And I think of all of us who are out scanning, if you can look for a way to generate recurring revenue without doing the work, it's some work up front. You got to arrange a meeting, got to help do follow-up, and maybe there's some objections, got to check with there's some work up front. But if you can do recurring revenue, then you're helping yourself get off that treadmill of eat, kill, eat, kill, eat, kill, meaning you're making a living from scanning, and you're busy, and you've maxed out your time. So as a busy service provider, what's next? Are you hiring another Matterport service provider to be part of your team? Are you offering add-ons that generate either revenue or recurring revenue? And so Agent Relay is an example of being able to offer an add-on that generates recurring revenue for a Matterport service provider while helping your client get more listing presentations, win more listings, and over time trade up to bigger listings, win more and bigger premium listings. And obviously for the homeowner, I think they probably get it in this age of COVID, that being able to have the agent within the tour itself, we didn't even talk about this, but for anyone that's ever tried to demo Matterport using Zoom, it's hard.
Yeah, and very clunky and slow.
Hard, clunky, and slow, and latency, and it's almost impossible to try and let the other person drive and have a nice flow of conversation. So by integrating video chat, text chat within the Matterport tour itself, really to make it easy and seamless to have a conversation about a space and capturing lead information before and after. It seems like a very powerful tool for Matterport service provider to be able to offer to their existing clients.
Yeah, technology such as Zoom, if you're not a tech confident agent, that's quite a scary situation, because you need the customer to download Zoom. If there are any issues, you have to manage that manage the technology. The Agent Relay platform requires no screen sharing, no software downloads. So no matter the technical capabilities of the agent, it's a single click both for the agent and the customer to join the viewing on any device. So it takes away those barriers, I think, to that sort of co-views technology and experience.
Dan, you mentioned a feature that's come. Before we wrap up, I just want to ask about one feature. You mentioned you have this feature coming that I'm looking at the tour. I want to ask for an agent to help guide me through this house instantly. When will that feature be available?
Q1 2021.
Okay, first quarter of 2021. So obviously a lot of features being, it's a great product service today, but you're making it that much better, adding new features. That seems like an awesome feature that someone who is essentially, is metaphorically speaking, knocked on the door, walked into the house, and is able to say, hello, I got some questions about this house. And immediately, if the agent wants, immediately be connected to the agent, to have the agent and the prospect be within the Matterport space together with video chat and text chat.
Without any of the friction such as technology barriers. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to take it to the next step, I could imagine that there's a lot of people who are either selling a house where it's hard to get maybe the spouse together at the same time. So this helps facilitate that. One may be at the office, one may be at the house, one may be in another state. And,
Yep.
and in the same way, I think today we have a lot of people, particularly in the United States, that are relocating, and they may be making a decision without physically going, particularly the military who may be moving to another location in the United States. This may be the only way for them to help them buy a house. So, if I at one point I lived in Norfolk, Virginia, a very heavy military town. I think if I was an agent in Norfolk, Virginia, that this is an example of a platform that if I was an agent going to a home seller to say, hey, this is how we're going to show your home or your lease, house for lease, to a service member someplace else in the world who is moving to Virginia, they're going to immediately get it. This is a really powerful solution to make a difference.
Well, funny you mentioned that. I was actually on a call 3 or 4 hours ago with agents in Alaska, and there's lots of military there, and their big challenge is to make sure their properties are lined up for rent before they arrive. So that was the reason for their connection with us.
I mentioned military, but you could be in a vacation destination. You have people making a decision to spend a lot. They may be renting a house for a month. They may be renting it for a week. They may be buying a second home. So if you're at a vacation destination, wow, those real estate agents are going to be really excited. If you're in a location where there's many Matterport service providers, this is in part differentiating you from other Matterport service providers, but also differentiating the agent from other agents that are offering Matterport. So you may be in a mountain location, and in that mountain location, people are making decisions to drive to go spend a week or to buy a second home. So I think you can see that the part that's really exciting to me. I just think about even a vacation home. The home, let's say it's in St. Simons Island, Georgia, and the prospective buyer is in Atlanta, and the spouse is traveling and they're someplace else. And oh, by the way, they want to ask another family member to get involved in the decision. All of a sudden, you could have 3 or 4 people in different states talking about a property, yet in a different place, and having a conversation seamlessly take place within the tour.
I agree. And just to say as well that what we've seen is that this is obviously focused on real estate at the moment, but just this week we've spoken to people with regards to universities, hotels. So any space that's been captured with a Matterport, typically there's an agent involved, and the technology works equally as well for that.
Yeah, I love that because I think about weekly construction documentation by a general contractor, and all of a sudden, all the people who are involved in that weekly construction documentation, you're talking about building out a retail store in a mall. Well, the general contractor may be in yet a different city, the local contractor in that city, the subcontractors elsewhere. The owner of that property may be yet someplace else. The person leasing that property may be someplace else. All of a sudden, you could have 5, 10, 20 people who have an interest in the weekly construction documentation that's being done by Matterport, but to be able to have that conversation within the tour itself. I think we could probably, talk forever about other, industries in terms of travel or insurance or renovation or fire and flood damage or, whatever it is. I think our focus today is talking about it's agent relay, it's real estate agents, it's real estate brokers. But, for those watching that are in another field, innovation often takes place at the intersection of a technology designed for one use being used in other ways that were perhaps known or unexpected. So really doesn't have to be a house for sale.
For sure.
Yeah. Dan, thanks so much for joining us today on the
Thank
show.
you.
We've been visiting with Dan Cattermole. He is the founder and CEO of Agent Relay. Dan is in Jersey, not New Jersey, but Jersey in the English Channel, just off the coast of France. I'm in Atlanta. So for Dan and Dan, thank you for watching WGAN TV Live at 5. Little thumbs up, thumbs up. Can't see your thumbs. Thumbs up.